2022 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. I will read the agenda briefly. Call to order, pledge of allegiance, visitors' comments, minutes, old business, which includes other old business, treasurer collector department update, the Comcast renewal, which is going to require a vote by the board. 7:15, the discussion and or vote on Commonwealth Equine and Agricultural Center LLC's relocation pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 128A, Section 13A. New business, town administrator review, other new business, discussion and or vote relative to ARPA funding, committee reports, town administrator reports, signatures and approvals, the state election warrant for November 8, 2022, Selectmen Roundtable, and adjournment. If you would all rise, first order of business is pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is visitors' comments. The standard item on our agenda. Is there any visitor who wants to make a comment? Okay, hearing none. We do not have any minutes to review as of this point. Under old business, we have other old business and we have the treasurer collector department update. Nicole, do you want to fill us in a little bit about so where we left it was that the last time we were together, we had an update from Sarah, who was helping with the finance group, and that things are moving along. We will have them in at a future meeting for an update, but the process is moving along. I guess sort of under this, for those of you that don't know, the municipal building sustained some pretty decent sized damage on Friday due to a furnace issue. So as part of the treasurer collector department update, we've talked about moving that department. It's going to be forced to be moved because of damage to their room. But Nicole, if we can keep them on for the next agenda when perhaps there isn't such a heavy agenda to have a full update for them. So the furnace had an issue on Friday, and some of the valves blew, and several of our rooms, would you say most of them, sustained 80 to 85%. So Nicole's saying 80 to 85% of our rooms sustained damage in the municipal building. So please be a little patient with folks if you're looking for anything from the department, including the treasurer collector. We are waiting for Selectman Ruggles to join us. He's a little bit behind, so please excuse us for moving around a little bit on the agenda. I'd like to keep the Comcast contract renewal vote for him when he joins us as well. Old business that we need to discuss, Kelly? Nicole, was there anything under old business? No. Okay. You do see on the agenda 7:15 discussion or vote. We were advised by the town clerk last week, which is why you heard us mention it in our meeting last week, that we should hold to the 7:15. So we will not be discussing anything relative to Commonwealth Equine until that time. We do have a town administrator review on the agenda under new business. We will defer the review. Nicole has been very patient. She should have had a review probably a couple months ago, but with everything on the agendas and her work schedule, we've deferred that a little bit. So thank you for being patient, Nicole. Anything under other new business, Kelly, that we should talk about? Okay. Sandra? There are a few printed copies here. It is online, as always. It's always on My Town Government under the town of Hardwick And past agendas are there as well. Thank you. Another item on our agenda for discussion is discussion or vote relative to ARPA funding. I don't believe there's anything new, Nicole, that we need to talk about. Only that one of the items that we had considered funding through ARPA was moving some of the offices within the municipal building to be more conducive to dealing with the public, which we were going to pay for, I believe, out of ARPA funding, but as a result of the flooding, the insurance company is going to be paying for that, so that will take some of the pressure off. Nicole, we don't have any committee reports in front of us. Nicole, do you have anything you want to report?
No, since I've been away for 2 weeks.
So Nicole's been away for 2 weeks. This is her first meeting back, so I think we need to welcome her back and say she doesn't need to do the town administrator report. In terms of signatures and approvals, we have the COA report that we're going to take a minute to review. Was Ryan going to be here for the state warrant?
Well, I don't know if it's state warrant, but he said he'd be here by 7:15. Okay. I can't pull anything up on my phone.
There's nothing else that we have to send.
Just that. It really was a whirlwind of a day.
Yeah.
For me to even thinking about what you need to sign, I just.
Looks like it has blood on it.
Sure, it's not ready. Thank you.
So why don't we go back to the Comcast renewal and hopefully we can catch Selectmen Roundtable up to speed when it comes. So Nicole, the contract has been through legal counsel review.
Yes.
And these are the suggestions that they've come up with relative to the contract.
Yeah. So the only real changes were, let me take that. Yeah, we sent it over to legal and they added some language that is pretty much required that hasn't been in there in a few different sections. The only real noticeable changes be the GAR, which is the annual operating grant that is given to the town that is received by the town each year. And at the last meeting, you had decided to do 3% down from 4%, and then after further discussion with the attorney, it was decided that it would actually accelerate through the next 10 years and be at 5% at year 9 and 10. And that was because we don't know what will happen in the future in the event we do want to have a channel or we want to add more equipment into another location such as this or somewhere that we have the ability to do that. And the other part the other section that changed was that we could potentially Comcast come in and give us a channel, which would be on cable channel, not YouTube like we currently have. So we don't want to exercise that right now because we have a more affordable option, and people that don't even have cable can now at least see it. But didn't want to leave that option out for the next 10 years. So those are the real changes.
Thank you. And you've had a chance to go through all those?
I have.
So in our current contract, Nicole, the GAR was same type of thing. It was graduated. I think it was 3%, 3%, 4% in the current contract. So we're suggesting 3%, migrating up to 5% in years 9 and 10.
Right.
Okay.
3% year 1 and 2, and up to 5. So it goes 3 to 3.5, 4 to 4.5
Okay.
for years, 2 years at a time.
And they corrected all of the addresses, as Kelly mentioned. They corrected all of the public buildings on the cable system. There were some incorrect addresses, and it looks like they corrected everything here. And included the ones that were not previously included.
Took off what shouldn't be done.
Right, and removed what should be on the list. And these changes have gone to Eileen for her review.
Those were the questions she had. Was 6.4 and 6.5 that we clarified with.
Okay, and they're okay with these other edits that,
Yeah.
okay.
Those are
wording
typical. That's typical language in cable contracts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing that I did want to point out was that, sorry. The one thing I did want to point out was that in the event we do build the channel, Hardwick is responsible for paying for that. So, which was another reason we wanted to keep that GAR acceleration. Yeah. Okay.
Come out of that.
It would come out of that account that we have, the PEG account we have. But just, it was clarified that, Hardwick is responsible for paying for that whole setup if we do it eventually.
Thank you. Do we want to move forward and make a vote on this? I think we should just vote on this. Do you want to make a motion?
Sure.
Yes, it was in there. October 30th, 2022. It was in the email.
So I would go ahead and make a motion that we accept and approve the renewal of our Comcast agreement starting October 30th, 2022 to expire on October 29th, 2032 as modified by our attorney.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Can you guys hear us? The mic seems to be going in and out.
Do we need to wait for Lion for the warrant? Do you think, or can
No.
we just go ahead
Yeah, you don't have to wait for it.
and do we would have to make a motion to approve it?
Yeah. And to sign it.
You had a chance to look at the warrant? We did.
So one of the items on the agenda is the warrant for the 2022 state election. I quickly will just read what's on the warrant. Actually, it's pretty long, so I won't read it. But basically, what's on the warrant is the state election candidates question 1, which is the proposed amendment to the Constitution, relative to the 4% state tax. Question 2 is the law summarized relative to the Division of Insurance approving and disapproving rates of dental plans. Question 3 is approval of law relative to the combined number of licenses for the sale of alcohol beverages for off-premises consumption. Question 4 is a referendum on an existing law relative to proof of residency. Question 5 is a non-binding that allows input relative to representing that the representative from this district be instructed to introduce and vote for legislation that puts a fee on the carbon content of fossil fuels. So our job as selectmen is to vote on this warrant if we're okay with what is included in the warrant. I'll make the motion.
I would make a motion that we accept and approve the warrant for the 2022 state election that will be held at the Hardwick Elementary School, 76 Schoolhouse Drive on November 8th, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. as written.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Great, thank you. Anything we want to discuss relative to the Selectmen's Roundtable? I guess I would just, we're under the Selectmen Roundtable. So under the Selectmen Roundtable, some of you may have been present at the Conservation Commission hearing last week, in which many issues were discussed. Just, I guess I would say from the board perspective, we are following up on all of the information that was presented last week and should have hopefully something to report in the not so distant future, but sort of stay tuned for that. That was not unfortunately televised, so we apologize for that. It was not the Selectmen's meeting, it was a Conservation Commission's meeting. We were there in just a joint capacity for transparency purposes, so that was unfortunately not reported. But I can tell you that we are following up on what was presented and hope to report back again in the near future relative to questions or concerns. Also, in regard to our meeting that was held last Thursday, today you should have received, or you should see if you're on the Hardwick Virtual Common or on our Facebook page. I believe the FAQs will be posted or have been posted, not from the meeting this Thursday, but from a prior select board meeting with questions and answers that were put out by our attorney Alex. We do have the chat from last week's meeting. Again, because of the sort of disaster we had on Friday at the municipal building, the chat's not ready to be released. Once we have the answers from MDAR, as we said we will post those questions out as soon as we have any of the answers. So we knew perhaps that we would have a light agenda until our 7:15 discussion, but again, as pointed out by the town clerk to us last week, if we were going to have a possible vote on this, we would have to name a time. By the time we addressed it in our Thursday meeting was 7:15. So I would make the suggestion that perhaps we recess the Selectmen's meeting until 7:15. That would give the opportunity for Selectman Ruggles to be here as well. It is now 6:51, so we will reconvene at 7:15. Thank you.